are the Star Wars Collector's Coins. Every Star Wars action figure comes with one. Dynamic graphic front, action story back, over 60 different coins in the collection.
The year was 1985, and Kenner was desperate to save its Star Wars brand. So they rolled out these collector coins. It didn't really work, but they're worth a fortune now. For years I've been collecting these coins. I'm not sure exactly what it is about them. Perhaps it's my grandfather's love of coins kind of passed down to me, but there's always been something very special about them. Perhaps it's the allure of the money that goes along with them. But in reality, I think it's actually that I didn't have many of these growing up, and the allure is very strong. And between that and my love of coins, there's something special about these. The community that collects these is not nearly as big as the figures. Perhaps it's the cost that's prohibitive, or is it just that people like to display the figures, and perhaps they just don't find the coins as cool. For whatever reason, the community is smaller, but it doesn't make these any cheaper. Here's my 30-second tutorial. There were 5 categories. The first came with new figures like a Man or Han in Carbonite. Category 2 came with previous figures like Darth Vader or Stormtrooper. Category 3 are all mallaways. You had to send away with proof of purchase to get them. These are much more rare, and for whatever reason, some show up more than others. The Category 3s are like your TIE Fighter or Chief Chirpa, 4 the AT-AT Walker, and 5 are the hardest to find, like Greedo, Sailskiff, and Hoth Stormtrooper. So let's get into some recent sales and kind of find where we are with current pricing on some of these coins. This is a Bwing coin. These were previously released figures that were found on Power of the Force cards. So these coins are in the Category 2 realm, and they're pretty easy to find. So right now this one is priced at sold for $49.99, which for this coin is a little high in my opinion, considering I probably got mine for like $15 about 10 years ago. But you know, prices for everything, including these coins, are on the rise. So I think you would probably be looking at between $30 and $50 for this Category 2. Here we have a Stormtrooper coin. This is a Cat 2. Sold for $400. Obviously it's an AFA 85, it's graded, which, you know, again, makes a difference to some people. It kind of gives them, you know, authentication for sure, which I completely understand. I see why that's important in this process of grading. Especially with these coins, I know there are some fakes out there, but I feel like most of them are pretty easy to spot. Most of them go by weight, and it's not too hard to determine what's real and what's not. Next up, we have a Darth Vader. This is another one of those Category 2s. Sold for $95 plus shipping. I mean, certainly this was probably more like the $25 range, probably about 10 years ago. But again, everything is going back up. So this is reflective of that. $95, not sure I would pay that, but you know, I think that's kind of where you're looking. I would probably try and shoot for the $75 range. That seems like a better price to me. But at this point, you may have to settle for something a little higher, like $95. This is one of those coins that I don't quite understand why it's so much money. It's sort of like the Yak Face figure itself. Is it rare? Yeah, comparing it to, you know, a Darth Vader or an Obi-Wan figure, sure. But these coins were on Power of the Force card backs, granted only in Canada and the UK. But technically speaking, they should be more readily available than something in the Category 3 zone. So for them to be this much more than a lot of the mallaways, $1,100 is quite the price for something like this. Perhaps the demand is just higher, or it ties in with the figure, like I said. But either way, $1,100 for a Yak Face coin seems really, really steep, but honestly, that's what people are paying at this point in time. Next up, we have another Category 2 Chewbacca coin. This one looks a little beat up. It has some, wear around the edges and a few scratches. So, and I think the price reflects that. So this would probably be more in like the $50 range if it were kind of a bit more minty. But $36 just to have this coin is ballpark right now, and I think I would be happy to pay that. It's one of those things that was probably around the same price 10 years ago. But again, $36 is a manageable price to be paid for this coin. Here's another Category 2 Wicket, going for $100. Not to belabor the point, but 10 years ago, this was probably more in the $40 range. Not super rare. It was on a Power of the Force card back, so you will find it more readily than the $3, $4, $5s. $100 feels a little steep, but just like the Wicket figure, that's gone up quite a bit too. So I'm not sure exactly why that is or why Wicket is all the rage, but so $100. I would try and get a little cheaper than that, maybe in the $60 range. $100 feels like a little bit of an overpay. Okay. Here's one of the classic Category 1 coins. It was found with the Lando General figure on the Power of Force card back, so it came with a newer figure. So this first line are very ubiquitous. You can find them pretty easily. These are ones that they're everywhere, especially this coin. So $20, that's ballpark. I feel like you could probably get it even cheaper. Most collections have these in it if you do have these Power of the Force coins. So $20, I would, I'd jump all over that. Here's another one of those, everyone had this. Luke Skywalker Rebel Leader. He's on the speeder bike. It came with the Luke Endor figure. These are plentiful. You can find these quite easily. I actually had this coin as a kid. I actually had that figure, so that's not in that figure. It has skyrocketed in price. It's another one of those kind of head scratchers where you feel like there should be a lot of those available, but maybe it's just that as time goes by, a lot of those figures have lost their camouflage cloaks and weapons. But so $22 here plus shipping. That's not too bad. I'd be willing to pay about $25 or even lower. Sometimes you can get these for around $15 too. Here's a Category 3 low gray coin. This was a mail away coin, so these are more rare than the others, Category 1 or 2. This one was listed for $420, and best offer accepted. I'm not sure what that was, but it was probably not far underneath that price. But this feels, no matter what the price was there, this feels like a massive overpay. Typically these are going for $60 to $100, so I'm not sure why this one sold so high. I certainly would not pay that much. But again, I guess sometimes these are getting harder to find, and maybe there's more people jumping on to the bandwagon with these coins. So, a novice might sit there and say, "Oh, I've never seen this one before, so I'm gonna pay that high price." But I definitely think you could find it for lower than that. Now we're into the Cat 5 Leia Organa. This is an AFA 85 plus, very nice coin. Typically, $3,000 is a lot, but again, it's graded, so that gives people peace of mind, certainly. Typically, I think these had been selling probably for half that, maybe closer to $2,000. Certainly a very rare coin. You don't see it come up very often. So the price is, borderline warranted. But the whole grading aspect makes these prices spike. I don't love grading, but the fact that it kind of gives you a little bit of peace of mind with these coins, I think in general, if you're willing to pay that much more for that, then I get it. Here's another Category 5 coin, or what's considered, or had been considered a Category 5 coin. Leia Bouche coin in disguise. So yeah, these are in the category 5 range, but a lot of these had been popping up recently in the last couple of years. So I think the price has kind of dived back down. I feel like these were kind of more in the $1,000 range for a long time. So getting one for just under $400 is definitely a good buy. But you know what? It's very possible once this guy has run through his number of coins that he's been selling, that maybe these coins will go back up. If value is something that interests you. Some people just want to collect these because they think they're cool. I guess that kind of goes along with a lot of collecting. This is a fair price right now for the amount of coins that have been coming out in the last couple of years under the Leia Bouche. As always, thank you for joining me. You've been watching Toys We Remember. This has been a market guide for the Power of the Force coins. I love collecting these. I certainly don't buy them a lot because the costs are so high. But, I do like to see what they're selling for and try and find a good buy every now and then. So come back soon and we'll have more. Like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you again soon.